Hey, how's it going? My name's Nat. Let's see what's making news. Anthony Albanese has become the first Australian Prime Minister to visit China in nearly 7 years, with trade, human rights and pandas on the agenda. Here's Justina.
It's a touchdown that's pretty significant because an Australian Prime Minister hasn't paid a visit to China for a while now. You see, there's been a bit of tension between the two countries for a number of years, and our Prime Minister is keen to strengthen the relationship.
It is in all our interest to have a relationship where there is dialogue and cooperation.
He's set to meet with President Xi Jinping tonight to have a good chat. One big thing he wants to talk about is trade. China is Australia's largest trading partner, but things have been a bit rocky since 2020, when China slapped restrictions on the importation of some Aussie products, including wine, barley and lobster. They'll also discuss things like human rights issues and China's presence in the South China Sea. Oh, and then there's the panda issue. Yep, you heard me. Pandas. In case you didn't know, China actually owns all the giant pandas in the world, and 2 of them are on loan to Australia. Good old Wang and Funi here have called Adelaide Zoo home since 2009. But that loan is due to expire next year, so the PM has some convincing to do to try and keep these bamboo-loving bears down under.
Let me just say this about pandas. I'm pro-panda. Let's be very clear.
Whew, sounds like they've got a lot to get through.
Rescue efforts are underway in Nepal after a big earthquake hit on the weekend. The 5.7 magnitude quake struck in the Jarjakot region, about 500 kilometres northwest of Nepal's capital, Kathmandu. So far, more than 150 people have died, while hundreds are injured and many homes have been destroyed. Nepal's neighbour India has sent much-needed supplies to the region to help crews on the ground. Well, it's just 49 days till Christmas, and Father Christmas himself paid an early visit to South Australia on the weekend for the largest public parade in the Southern Hemisphere. Here's Josh with all the action.
It's official, Santa Claus has come to town. Or at least in Adelaide he has, for the 2023 Christmas pageant. Now in its 91st year, the pageant is the largest public parade in the Southern Hemisphere, and the second biggest in the world behind New York's Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. It's a massive tradition for people young and old in South Australia, with committed pageant goers lining the streets from the early hours of the morning to snag a good spot.
Probably about 4 or 5 hours I reckon I've been here. Yeah, got in at about 5:15.
This year, more than 300,000 Chrissy fans filled 3.7 k's of the city streets to cheer on clowns, elves, musicians and dancers alongside a whopping 170 moving theatrical sets, featuring familiar faces and some new additions too.
Isn't that just the biggest barbecue you've ever seen?
But there was one man everyone was waiting for to officially mark the beginning of the festive season.
Santa. Santa Claus. Yeah, Santa Claus.
I love Santa Claus. We've been good all year.
It's so good to be back here in Adelaide. Merry Christmas!
Now it's time for some stories that deserve a round of applause. Oh, thank you. First up, to the US, where inside this small capsule is a sample of rubble from an asteroid. It was collected from the asteroid Bennu by NASA's OSIRIS-REx spacecraft about 3 years ago. The spacecraft only landed back on Earth earlier this year, and now this small sample has gone on public display. Now to Florida, where a crab claw eating competition is well underway. The goal, crack open and eat 25 crab claws in the fastest time possible. This year's winner at 10 minutes and 17 seconds was Scott, who travelled all the way from Chicago to compete. And finally to Scotland, where Britain's loneliest sheep has been rescued. She's been stranded at the bottom of these cliffs for 2 years, and any rescue attempts were deemed too risky until now. A group of 5 farmers managed to rescue the sheep, give her a shear and the nickname Fiona. Oh, all that weight off your shoulders must feel great. Well, that's all we've got time for today. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Oh, you're too kind. No. Applaud yourselves.